Have you ever wondered if, in the middle of a heart attack, the one thing standing between life and death isn't the hospital, isn't the ambulance, but the simple actions you take in the very first few minutes before help even arrives? Because what I'm about to share with you today could genuinely make the difference between surviving one of the most dangerous medical emergencies in the world or becoming another tragic statistic. And if you're over the age of 50, I need you to listen especially closely, because the risk of heart-related emergencies rises dramatically as the years go by, even in people who think they are perfectly healthy. What's even more frightening is that many people have absolutely no idea what to do when a heart attack begins. Panic takes over, confusion sets in, precious seconds are wasted, and those lost seconds can cost lives. But today, I'm going to share 3 techniques that can dramatically improve your chances of surviving a heart attack. And I'm telling you this because one of my own patients used these exact techniques during a terrifying cardiac event and survived. And the most important part is this: the third technique is the one almost nobody knows about, yet it may be one of the most powerful things you can do in those critical moments. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might learn something that could one day save your life, or the life of someone you love. Now, if you're over 50, you probably know someone who has had heart problems. Maybe it was a family member. Maybe it was a close friend. Maybe you've personally experienced chest discomfort, shortness of breath, or sudden fatigue, and wondered if something more serious was happening inside your body. The truth is, as we age, our cardiovascular system naturally changes. Arteries can become narrower. Blood pressure often rises. Cholesterol can silently build inside blood vessels for years without causing any obvious symptoms. And many people wake up every day believing they feel normal, until suddenly, everything changes. You've probably heard stories of people who seemed completely fine in the morning, and by afternoon, they were in the emergency room fighting for their lives. That happens more often than most people realize. And here's something I want you to think about carefully. If a heart attack began right now while you were alone at home, would you know exactly what to do in those first 60 seconds? Most people don't, and that's dangerous. A few months ago, I worked with a patient named Robert, 62 years old, active, walked daily, ate reasonably well, never thought he was high risk. One afternoon while watching television, he began feeling an intense pressure in the center of his chest. At first, he ignored it. Then the pain began moving into his left shoulder. Sweat started pouring down his face. His breathing became shallow. He later told me that in those first few seconds, fear hit him harder than the pain itself. His mind started racing. But thankfully, Robert remembered 3 techniques we had previously discussed during a health consultation. He applied them immediately, and those decisions bought him enough time to survive until emergency medical help arrived. Today, I want to make sure you know exactly what he did. But before I explain the first technique, let me tell you something very important. During a heart attack, the body enters a state of extreme stress. The heart muscle is suddenly being deprived of oxygen-rich blood because a blockage is stopping circulation. Every minute matters. In fact, doctors often say time is muscle because the longer blood flow is blocked, the more heart tissue begins to die. That means your first response matters enormously. Not 10 minutes later, not when symptoms become unbearable, immediately. The very first technique is something surprisingly simple, and yet incredibly powerful. Call emergency services immediately. I know this sounds obvious, but you would be shocked by how many people delay making that call. People convince themselves the pain will pass. They tell themselves, maybe it's indigestion, maybe it's anxiety, maybe they should wait and see. That hesitation is deadly. The moment you feel crushing chest pressure, pain spreading into the arm, sudden dizziness, unusual nausea, unexplained sweating, or intense shortness of breath, assume it could be serious and call emergency services right away. Do not drive yourself if possible. Do not wait for family members to come home. Do not tell yourself you'll feel better in a few minutes, because often you won't. Think about this for a second. Your heart beats over 100,000 times every single day. It pushes blood through nearly 60,000 miles of blood vessels inside your body. You rely on it every second of your life without thinking about it. And when that system suddenly fails, immediate action becomes everything. You know your body changes as you age. You know heart disease becomes more common after 50. You know symptoms sometimes arrive unexpectedly. And knowing these facts already means you're one step ahead of millions of people who remain completely unprepared. Now here comes the second technique Robert used, and this one may surprise you. Chew an aspirin immediately, but only if you are not allergic and have been medically cleared to use aspirin safely. Here's why this matters. During many heart attacks, a blood clot blocks one of the coronary arteries feeding the heart muscle. Aspirin helps reduce the blood's ability to clot further, but there is an important detail most people miss. You should chew it, not simply swallow it. Chewing allows faster absorption into the bloodstream. Those extra minutes matter tremendously. Robert told me he remembered this instantly. He had a bottle nearby. He chewed one tablet while waiting for the ambulance. That simple decision helped slow the progression of damage occurring inside his heart. And I want you to imagine something. Picture blood moving smoothly through healthy arteries, carrying oxygen, nutrients, energy to every organ in your body. Then suddenly imagine a blockage forms, like a traffic jam shutting everything down. The heart begins struggling. Cells begin dying, pressure builds, pain radiates outward. But then immediate action begins helping restore balance. Just imagine the relief, knowing you've already taken a step that improves your odds. Now let me ask you something. Have you or someone close to you ever experienced a heart scare before? Maybe chest pain that turned out to be nothing serious, or maybe something far more frightening. I'd genuinely like to know. Share your experience in the comments below, because sometimes hearing other people's stories reminds us how important health awareness really is. Now here comes the third technique. And remember earlier when I told you there was one strategy almost nobody talks about? This is it. Stay calm and control your breathing. I know that sounds incredibly difficult. In fact, during a heart attack, panic is one of the most natural reactions imaginable. Your brain immediately senses danger. Stress hormones flood your bloodstream. Heart rate can accelerate. Blood pressure may rise. The body enters survival mode. But here's the problem. Panic forces the heart to work even harder when it is already starved for oxygen. Robert later described this moment vividly. He said his instinct was to stand up, pace around, and scream for help. But instead, he remembered what we had practiced. He sat down, leaned slightly back, focused entirely on slow breathing. Inhale deeply through the nose, hold briefly, exhale slowly. That simple act reduced the immediate surge of panic and helped prevent further stress on his cardiovascular system. Now think about your own experiences in life. You've probably noticed that when fear takes over, your breathing becomes shallow. Your chest tightens, your muscles tense, your thoughts scatter. But when you intentionally slow your breathing, something remarkable happens. The nervous system begins shifting, tension decreases, oxygen delivery improves. The body receives the message that it can stabilize. And here's the truth many people need to hear. Survival is often not about doing complicated things. It's about doing simple things correctly, at exactly the right moment. Call emergency services immediately. Chew aspirin if medically appropriate. Stay seated and control your breathing. These 3 actions gave Robert precious time. Enough time for paramedics to arrive. Enough time to reach the hospital. Enough time for doctors to restore blood flow before catastrophic damage occurred. And I want you to understand something deeply important. Heart attacks do not always look dramatic the way movies portray them. Sometimes symptoms are subtle. Mild pressure, burning sensation mistaken for heartburn, unusual fatigue, lightheadedness, jaw pain, pain in the back or shoulders, nausea without explanation. Especially in older adults, warning signs can appear differently than expected. Your body often whispers before it screams, so pay attention. If you've noticed unusual exhaustion lately, don't ignore it. If climbing stairs suddenly feels harder, notice it. If chest discomfort appears repeatedly during activity, take it seriously. Because awareness is protection. And as you start to notice these warning signs earlier, as you become more aware of how your body communicates with you, you naturally put yourself in a stronger position to protect your future health. There's something incredibly empowering about being prepared. Fear often comes from uncertainty, but knowledge creates confidence. The moment you understand what actions to take during a crisis, you remove some of the helplessness people feel during emergencies. Imagine being the person who remains calm while others panic. Imagine knowing exactly what to do while every second counts. Imagine one day saving not only your own life, but the life of your spouse, your parent, your brother, your sister, or even a complete stranger. That kind of knowledge is powerful. So now let's close the loop we opened at the beginning. I told you there were 3 techniques that helped my patient survive a heart attack. Here they are once more. He called emergency services the moment symptoms began. He chewed aspirin immediately because he knew it could slow clot formation. And most importantly, he stayed calm and controlled his breathing, instead of allowing panic to force his struggling heart to work harder. Those simple actions gave him enough time to survive, and one day, they may do the same for you. Your health after 50 is not just about living longer. It's about protecting the years ahead. It's about staying present for the people who love you. It's about understanding that small decisions made consistently can completely change outcomes. So please remember this lesson. Preparation is not fear. Preparation is wisdom. If this video taught you something valuable today, take a moment to like this video so more people can learn these life-saving techniques. Subscribe to the channel if you care about protecting your health and staying strong as you age. And most importantly, share this video with someone you care about, because knowledge like this should never stay hidden. It could save a life when you least expect it. Take care of your heart. Listen to your body. Stay aware. Stay prepared. And I'll see you again very soon.